For decades, Russell Crowe has not just been one of Australia's biggest film stars, but one of the biggest stars in the world. Along with a track record of excellent performances, his hallmark's been the avoidance of typecasting, with roles as diverse as a skinhead, a gladiator and a mathematician. His latest gig is as Superman's genetic father, Jor-El, in a reboot of the popular franchise called Man of Steel. Russell Crowe sat down with me in Sydney this afternoon to discuss movie making, celebrity and his beloved rugby league team. Russell, thanks for your time.
Cheers.
It must be pretty flattering when a movie studio goes, who would be believable to play the man who fathered Superman? And they go, well, Russell Crowe, obviously.
Yeah, they must have been up late that night.
Was the Man of Steel as fun to make as it looks?
It was one of the hardest jobs I've done for years. Physically as demanding as Cinderella Man or Gladiator. But, you know, Zack Snyder, the director, he's one of those unique individuals where, you know, his passion for what he does is so infectious that you flow along with it.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. They will stumble. They will fall. But you will help them. You will guide them. You will give them hope. That's what this symbol means. Hope.
I'll read a script. If it touches me, if I get goosebumps, then that's the role I have to do. That's the way you pay back the gods of film. You do only the roles that really affect you and touch you, you know? And, you know, I suppose if you look across my, you know, my CV, there's disparate. It's crazy, but that's the thing. I'm not about repetition. It's never really about being, you know, just a leading man. It's about, you know, some sort of discovery of humanity, you know, and that's what interests me, and that's why I do it.
Does experience make you a better actor? Does practice make you a better actor?
Absolutely.
Or is it something you've got or you don't have?
Well, I definitely believe that, you know. I have two sons. One of them's an actor, for sure. You know,
how can you tell? Because they're pretty young, aren't they?
It's a presence, you know. It's a thing that, you know, when you're playing a game, right, you have no problem with playing it for real, you know. And, you know, if the one that I'm talking about says to you he is a sea captain, you can see it in his walk and the way he stands and in his eyes, you know what I mean? And that's the difference, you know. Some kids play to play, and some kids, you know, play because the play is the thing that really drives them on. And that, you know, I'm not one who thinks my job's important by any means, you know. But, you know, I've been very lucky to actually find something as significant for me personally that I can do, you know. I mean, there's not a day that goes by on a film set that I'm not grateful for where I am. And that gratitude is not about fame, and it's not about fortune, or it's not about the things I've been able to do for my parents or anything like that. It's because I love my job, and I know I'm supposed to be there.
I interviewed Baz Luhrmann the other week, and he was talking about, he thinks the attitude towards celebrity in Australia has changed over his career, and he said it used to be pretty easy to shoot stuff here because Australians had a pretty laid-back attitude to celebrity, but he thinks it's changed. It's making it really hard, he reckons, to work here.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's driven by the populace, or that's driven by the media, you know, and in terms of what they need to fill their pages and blah, 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 you know. That, I don't think I've noticed a significant change in how Australians relate to me as an individual or to famous people. I mean, you'll still find people that travel here, you know, if they can get away from those dozen extremely annoying stalkers, you know, the paparazzi guys that will just, you know, ruin your life, ruin every quiet moment of your life, if they're allowed to. If you can get past that, you still have a pretty laissez-faire, laid-back attitude Australians have to fame. I mean, you know, everywhere I go, you know, I get that overly familiar, "How you doing, Rusty? You right, Rusty? You right, mate?" You know, which kind of annoyed me about 10 years ago, but I really like it now. It's like, you know, and I respond, "Hello, mate, how you doing?" You know?
Can you just sit, like, say if you just feel like a beer later today, can you just go and sit in the pub and have a beer and not
Yeah,
get
it depends
hassled?
on where you go, you know. You know, you very definitely have to change a lot of what you do in your life, and that's one of the things that I didn't do to start with, you know. When I started getting kind of waves of that international fame, you know, 99 or whatever, I kind of insisted that I could still go anywhere, you know, and it would all be fine. And that led to 2 or 3 years of, you know, me just being in the wrong place, you know.
When you're as famous as you are, how do you make new friends? How do you know that people want to be friends with you because they like you and not because you're Russell Crowe?
Oh, look, I got a pretty good bullshit meter, you know. You can tell a lot by a handshake, you can tell a lot by what's going on in somebody's eyes, you know.
You tweeted last week that you think that Julia Gillard is the right leader for Australia for tough times. Why do you think that?
I don't think anybody here really understands what the rest of the world's been going through economically, you know. I don't think they understand that, you know, there's large areas of Spain where the youth unemployment rate is 50%, you know. I don't think they understand, you know, the decompression that happened in Iceland or Ireland or Greece. That's not saying that we're not heading for possibly a couple of decades of really feeling it, you know. But my main reason for making that comment is because if you said that about my mum, that menu I'm talking about, or my sister, or my wife, I would be wanting to have a really seriously deep conversation with you, you know. And I think there's just a lack of gallantry that has crept into not just politics, but the way politics is reported. And I think it gives license to a type of hater that will only further reduce the quality of our lives, you know. The better politicians that we have in place, the better our society is going to be, the better all of our lives are, you know. And I think it was that lack of gallantry that led me to you know, to tweet that, you know. I think it doesn't matter who the Prime Minister is, that office needs to be respected.
Your team, the Rabbitohs, are at the top of the table.
Yeah,
How much would it mean to you personally to see them win the premiership?
Well, you know, I think it's bad karma to actually discuss something like that, but, you know, it's round 15. There's a long way to go in the season. But having said all that, you know, it's absolutely thrilling to open the newspaper every Monday and see that we're still sitting on top of the table. It's, you know, I mean, I haven't experienced that since I was a kid, you know, since I was 7 years old.
Russell Crowe, thanks very much.
Cheers.